G'day, Steve Morgan on, well, pretty late on a Friday afternoon this time for a Tackle Fridays. I am late because I went fishing. Yes, the weather was good. I sort of got a bit ahead of the work. We haven't got any tournaments happening this weekend, at least none that I'm going to be running anyway. And the weather looked good, so I thought let's do some fishing. It's been a good week actually. Been fishing a lot of southern Moreton Bay and catching plenty of tailor, plenty of jew, plenty of threadfin. And it seems that I think the future grand slam down this part of the world is going to be a barra, a thready and a jew, but more of that down the track. So I did a couple of sessions this week, did one morning session and one did afternoon session. For the week, probably a dozen tailor, probably 10 or 11 jew, probably, I don't know, half a dozen, 6 or 7 king threadfin. And of course, I do a lot of that stuff with some of the tackle that I know works, and I do other stuff trying new and different techniques. So let's start with the new and exciting stuff. Check out here, there's some footage of winding in a fish that I caught using perspective mode on really shallow water. At the moment, the Southern Bay is really dirty, but threadfin salmon on the bottom of the tide, and maybe the top of the tide, I don't know, I haven't fished for them in the daytime too much at all, sit right up on the edges and in about this much water, hunting prawns, hunting bait fish along the edge, and you can see them on perspective mode. I haven't got any footage of it yet because I only sort of started doing it this week, but I will take some footage of that. There sort of is a bit of a science to it, I think. I think they like areas where there is bits of current, certain steep drop-offs, but when you get a bait in front of them, holy mackerel, they are banging it. And I thought that for Tackle Fridays today, since there's no new and exciting stuff that I can really talk about now, tackle-wise, let's talk about the stuff I went out and fished with today. In fact, all of this week. I went out earlier in the week with Nicole, ABT's Nicole, and her brother Chris, caught a whole lot of fish, and then went out this afternoon. Again, we went out with Nicole to do some camera work, and she caught herself a little jew, amongst some other things. So the first thing we actually used, and Nicole used, was the old Reddick, but barra style. It's got some 60-pound leader on there. It's factory rigged hooks with the Venom, the Target 1 rod. She caught a few tailor and a couple of mulloway, no threadies on that one, but that one's pretty standard, that one there. There is no secret that I get a lot of help in the Southern Bay from guys like Mick Horn, who are who's a bit of a gun in the northern Gold Coast stuff. He gets me onto the lures that catch the fish, and you'll see that most of the baits I have rigged up on the tackle here is Crush City heavy hitters in the 4-inch. So check it out there. There's a heavy hitter 4-inch in the white. That's on a TT jig head. That's a 3/4 ounce jig head and about a 5/0 hook with a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader, 3000 size Daiwa reel, and maybe some 12-pound braid. Nice light spin out for there. That's an Omen, one of the 13 fishing. I use a lot of 13 rods because of the office we come out of. Probably the biggest work I had for the last few days has been this one, and this started off being Mick told me it was a dirty water lure, but it ended up being the everything water lure. This is one of the 4-inch heavy hitters in red and black, mixed specialty dirty water colour. And I suppose the word is dirty at the moment, but it's on one of the VMC Grip R jig heads. It's about a 5/8 of an ounce, and I've rigged it up because it comes with its own little stinger hook on the bottom. I put a swivel to a stinger which hangs out the bottom. While I'm fishing, I'll actually hook that into the hook, but at the moment I'm actually using it, using the stinger and if I'm fishing for mulloway by themselves all the time, I don't worry about a stinger hook. I don't think you need it. They hit it really well, but if you're catching tailor and threadies and other stuff as well, then I definitely use the stinger. That was the standout bait for the last week. That exact bait there probably caught around a dozen fish. Now that says a lot for the material the plastic's made out of, but it also says a lot for the way this works, the way the hook gripper works, and you'll see it's hard to pull off here. But they've got it's a combination of a lead little knob that you push it over, but the real kicker is the metal, the little wire. So you pull it over the wire, you push it on the wire, and all of a sudden that thing does not come off. So so this was awesome. I love this reel for long casting. You can throw literally the furthest bait caster you can throw. I'll throw that for 50, 60 metres into the wind if I need to. The SLZ or the slide is definitely one of my favourites. That's on a 7-foot medium Omen rod. I reckon I could probably go for a 7.3, 7.4. I don't actually put much action into it. Most of this is a rolling retrieve, but 7 foot is the one it's on, and it did a great job for me. Trying to catch these the shallower fish, I actually tried some of the 6-inch heavy hitters on some lighter jig heads just to hang it off the bottom a little. I didn't want it to be ploughing into the bottom. I wanted it to be sort of kicking over just above the bottom. Didn't land any on that fella there. And yes, that is a 2-inch long leader left over from Barra trolling. But yeah, that's the sort of stuff that we trying bigger baits, lighter jig heads, just trying to get that bait sitting exactly the right depth above the bottom. Sometimes they don't want to eat it off the bottom. They want it above their head, not below their head. So that's on a Miller rods with a Daiwa Exist, a really short length of 50-pound or 55-pound Schneider on there, and some 30-pound braid, that guy there. And this is the last thing I was playing with. I was really trying to get one on top water this afternoon, and to do that I had one of the larger size Mavericks from Nomad Tackle. Didn't get any interest on it this afternoon, but I'm sure I'll find the situation where this is going to be a pretty special way to catch these fish in the shallow water. The Maverick, you can roll it underwater, just under the water, so if I'm fishing only in a foot and a half of water, this is not going to be digging into the bottom. It's about the same size that the banana prawns are at the moment. I'm really not very far down the perspective mode threadfin shallow water thing at the moment. As you can see in the cutaway here, this is a 1.4 metre fish I got this afternoon doing it, but I'm really looking forward to taking a few more days during this autumn and putting together a really solid pattern for catching these fish while the prawns are still running. I think the prawns being up shallow are pretty important to them being really shallow. So the other thing we have potentially happening this weekend is we have the first of the Queensland Team Series events. It's a brim fishing tournament in southeast Queensland. If I can get one of the kids excited, one of the kids and I will be fishing that on Sunday. It's a one-day tournament trying to catch 5 of our best brim. We will be using all of our regular techniques for that. But until next week, that's Tackle Fridays. I went fishing. Oh, final thing. Best thing to eat ever, if you're a Southeast Queenslander, I reckon, is 1 day old fresh smoked tailor. Check it out here. I haven't got any for dinner tonight. I caught 1 tailor today and then I let it go because I thought I'm not going to keep it unless I got 2. Then I caught another one, so I put in the live well and I didn't catch another one as well, so I let one go again. They both got tags in it at the moment, just like all the other fish I've been letting go. They were 2 lucky tailor. They tasted great.